SupYoLo. SupYoLo. What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 5th episode of SupYoLo. Happy Friday. Today I have one of the best photographers I know, Evans Tasiopoulos from the Miti Group.
Hi, everyone. And thank you for having me, by the way.
Oh, of course. Thank you for coming on.
Anytime.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? Where are you from?
Well, I'm born and raised in Detroit. And I have such love for the city, but yeah, that's where I'm from, just from Detroit.
Detroit is an amazing city, and of course
is.
that's why we brought you on here, because we are supporting our locals when it comes to passion and entertainment. So, can you tell me a little bit about when you started photography as a whole?
Yeah, sure. Well, me with photography, well, growing up, I have always done art. I grew up as a little kid loving Crayola and just drawing away, and that kind of progressed to picking up a pencil, then charcoal, then painting. And for years, I was a painter. I did that for a good chunk of my life. And then one day, I felt like almost like the natural progression of art, because I always want to learn more skills, I guess.
Okay.
And one day I felt like I needed to pick up a camera, because I think I could express myself even more with the camera.
Yeah.
So with me with the camera, it's only about, I want to say about 7 years now, I picked up the camera.
Okay.
And basically just a way to kind of show the world the way I see things.
Right.
And again, a natural progression of art where
well, you can only get so close with paintings and drawings and stuff like that, but with the camera you can capture a moment, you know?
For sure.
And now that you mentioned that,
I also just love learning different medias, and again, when I first got into painting, I loved it. It was great. It was very a physical thing where you could put your fingers in paint and create life basically with it, you know. And I feel like with camera it's almost the same way, but instead of with paint, I'm actually showing or capturing life as it happens, as in what's in front of me. So. And
your perspective on life is one of the things that I like the most about your photography. Is completely unique. Not a lot of people do what you do, and I love how the exposure and light is kind of what you focus on. So can you tell me a little bit about why you choose that perspective? Yeah, well, I guess a lot of it goes back to my biggest subject that I love to photograph, because again, I was born and raised in Detroit. I love the city, and I always grew up at a time when people always hated the city. People would say, oh, Detroit is dirty, Detroit's grimy, Detroit's falling apart. And me growing up as a little kid, I would be blown away by that, because I would see so many great things in the city, that there was so much beauty here that people just seem to overlook. And that was a big reason why I would pick up the camera, because I kind of wanted to show people that Detroit was that diamond in the rough. Detroit was always beautiful. People just needed to see it. And that's kind of what my main focus was, especially at first, was just photographing beauty in the city. And I'm a fan of long exposures, and that kind of adds a little dreaminess to it really does
to my photographs, and to me it almost kind of makes the city into more of an ideal, I think.
Right, and so, you allow people, your audience, to see Detroit in a new light.
Exactly, that's kind of what I've been aiming for. Because for years, if people took photos of the city, it was always like ruin porn, like, oh, this is decay, this is grime, this is the filth that I took. And that photography became pretty big a few years ago, but I was so against it. I just wanted to show that Detroit, again, it just needed a little bit of a polish, but we always had this great beauty.
And I think that's awesome, because Detroit recently has been on such a progressive path that we need people like you who are pointing out the beauty in it. And so I really appreciate that about what you do. What kind of camera are you using?
Well, I shoot with a Nikon D5100, just a simple middle-of-the-road, camera. Nothing too fancy.
Totally.
But I think with cameras, though, I think it's more about the eye of the beholder. It's not about what gear you use. It's about how well you see things.
Okay.
So I remember the first time I ever had a photo published. It was with a cell phone pic that I just happened to get a really good shot with my cell phone, and that did really well. Okay. And of course, I've gotten great shots with my good camera too, but I think it's all about your eye instead of your gear.
Anything is possible.
Exactly.
Can you tell me a little bit about the group you're involved in, the Miti Group?
Yeah, I'm with an art collective called the Miti Group. three friends of mine and I, we founded this group almost about 20 years ago. Again, back when Detroit was still, people were afraid to come down to the city.
Right.
We were three artists where we tried hard getting our work out there, and no gallery wanted us, no studio wanted us, and we kind of noticed that there was other artists like us that couldn't really get their work out there. Phenomenal local artists, but they had no avenue to express themselves.
Okay.
So then one day we all kind of got together. Mark Tice, my friend Greg Bach, and I got together, and we came up with an idea of the Miti Group, where we would host art shows ourselves. And it was open doors policy. Any artist who wanted to be involved can be involved. And we put on an all-day show just celebrating art.
That's
and
awesome.
We basically took care of all the finances, the expenses, and all that.
That is awesome.
And we pretty much did it we just loved the art scene in the city so much. We wanted to help out up-and-coming artists. Then over the years, it kind of grew and progressed and progressed. A good friend of ours, Dave Messi, he kind of came on board to help us out too.
Okay.
And now this thing has become, we do multiple shows a year. We do the Detroit Artist Ball. We average over 1,000 people for our shows.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. 50, 60 artists per show that we'll have in our events. Yeah. And every year it just gets bigger and bigger. And again, our main goal is to promote local artists. Especially unknown local artists as well. So.
That's the best thing to do, you know? Like, we need to get these people who are unknown and very passionate out into the world so that people can see them and enjoy us and enjoy them.
Yeah, because for me, like, I see so many people that they're basically working out of their basement and their work never gets seen. And they're incredible, gifted artists.
Right.
And they just have no idea how to get their voice out there. So we kind of step up, and we don't take any money. We just kind of, any money that we make goes into putting on these events.
Yeah.
So we're not there to make, a cash grab or anything. It's just basically to help other artists.
Yeah.
And the artist that's in their basement, that's been painting away for years, that's never been seen, we say, hey, here's a show, here's a spot, go to town and enjoy.
That's beautiful. So where did you get the name Monty?
Mati is, I'm Greek, so I like to have a little of my heritage in what I do. Okay. Mati is I, Greek for I. So like we're the I group basically.
Yeah.
But Mati sounds a little bit more fun,
Monty is really fun, and your logo will explain that.
Yeah, well the logo is an eyeball. It's actually my eyeball, photoshopped heavily. My friend Mark Tice and I, we kind of went, I took the photo of my eye, threw it in Photoshop, gave it to him, he played with it, gave it back, I did a little bit, went back to him, and then we ended up coming out with our logo, which is this very almost ancient looking version of an eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love your logo. Would you consider the Miti Group to be your biggest supporter?
Yeah, well actually I think, because again, since I'm part of it, I think, yeah, I'm a big supporter of us. Everyone that's in the group is a very big supporter of us. But as far as like people that support me though, I mean, friends, family, you always give me lots of love, showing you love for my work. Detroit Mercy, I get a lot of love, and things like that. But just people in general, people that I meet that see my work, even people that I never met before for the first time see my work.
It's totally unique.
They come out to me and they say, you know what, we saw what you did, we love it, thank you for what you do, and that just kind of makes my day.
Yeah.
And to me, that's my biggest supporter, is just meeting people and exposing my work to newer people,
You already told me a little bit about your mission statement, kind of to show the beauty of Detroit.
Right.
Is that also your motivation?
That's a huge motivation, because again, I would say about 90% of my photography is all based out of the city, all out of Detroit. And that gets me out there shooting as often as I possibly can. Often every day I'm out there with my camera.
But what motivates you to actually like continue doing photography?
Oh, for the love of doing it. For the love of art. It's because I feel like every day I'm out there, I'm always learning something new. And I think as an artist, that's because personally, I don't necessarily call myself an artist quite yet. I think being an artist is the ultimate goal, and I'm constantly striving. And to me, that's my motivation, though. That's what makes me get out there every day and try to be better and better. Because I want to eventually one day become an artist. One day I want to become reach that epitome. Where I think right now, if I were to call myself an artist, I would feel like I'm there. And this is just personal stuff. Yeah. Where I feel like I would be done. Why grow anymore?
Right.
Where if I have a goal to strive for, that gets me out there every day with my camera or doing any type of art. just trying to grow and trying to learn. That's my favorite part of the process is the learning, the trial and error, like taking a photo of something and looking at it a day later and going, oh, if I would have known what I know now, this would have been such a better photo, you know?
Oh my gosh.
Or anything I've done, in,
Yes.
you know, whether it's a painting or a mural or whatever. So.
Yeah, it's beautiful to watch the evolution of somebody's work, especially, you know, with something like this show. We started in a huge white room, and now we have tons of equipment.
Great studio, basically, you're working out of too,
yeah.
you know, which is fantastic. And to me, I love watching that process. I love watching things kind of grow organically.
Yeah.
Even the self-taught stuff, like, well, I never did this before, but I'm going to figure it out, and I'm going to mess up like 50 times, but that 51st time,
100 times,
it's going to be fantastic, and I'm going to love it. And I mean, because of that, I'm going to be able to grow more and more from that.
Awesome.
So I love growth. I love watching that experience, and even not just with myself, but with others as well.
So your end goal is to be known as an artist.
Yeah, exactly. At least for others to consider me that, because I think even that could even be more of is for the other people to decide.
Okay, yeah.
What if I made my goal or not? I don't want to be self-proclaimed. I just want to be. This is what I do. I'm doing it out of love, and if at the very end people say he was an artist and a good human being, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
He was a good guy. I want people to say, and I want people to say he was a great artist, or a gifted artist, or even a decent artist. I'll be happy with that. So.
Does the Miti Group have anything coming up soon?
We do. We're always working on shows. We normally do about 3 to 4 shows a year, but they take a whole year to plan out.
Oh, okay.
We're working on a benefit show right now. We don't have all the details quite out there yet, but one of our really close friends, he's called Brendan the Blind Artist, and we're doing a benefit for him. He was a tattoo artist, painter for years, got sick, and he lost his sight, but he learned to paint he learned to paint without being able to see. So we're doing a benefit show for his cause, and we decided to do a show where it's going to be live painting. And all the artists are going to be blindfolded. So everyone has to paint the way, or experience life the way he experiences life.
Wow. And
we're going to be that way the entire night. And we're not allowed to even see what we created, because he never gets to see what he created.
Wow.
So we're going to we're
deep.
working on that. Again, we're still kind of hammering out the details. By next week, we should officially announce it.
Okay, once that's announced, all the information for that will be right in the description below.
Exactly. So that should be a really fun show. We're having it at the Tangent Gallery. The date offhand escapes me, actually, but that'll be on there.
Yeah.
We just booked the date about 2-3 days ago. And that's another group we work with a lot too, the Tangent Gallery. We're really good friends with them. They're very big supporters of Detroit artists. We even have a mural on their building, which is pretty awesome. Yeah. So so a little shout out to them too, because I love those guys at the Tangent. But yeah, that's kind of what we do that one. And after that, we're working on our next two shows after that. We do a holiday theme show called Tipsy Tinsel. Just a fun, for Small Business Saturday we do it. Gather a bunch of artists together, have a big Christmas theme event. We have a naughty Santa Claus. We have all sorts of stuff. Satori Circus we had last year performing.
Okay.
Just really great acts performing there too. A lot of theater involved. Mm-hmm. And of course our biggest show we do every year is the Detroit Artist Ball.
Oh yeah. Okay.
That's been our biggest act.
When in the year does that happen?
March, April, around there. For this, it was always a one-day event, and the show has been getting bigger and bigger, to the point where we would have a line out the door. For next year, it's going to be a 2-day event. Because we think we kind of reached that point where the show can become 2 days. Yeah. So that one's still in the hush-hush. We don't want to announce any of the surprises for that show until we get a little closer to it.
So for all of our viewers out here, how can they all find you?
With me, Instagram's a great way.
His Instagram is amazing. Check it out.
Evans47. If you look that one up, actually all my tags are Evans47. My website is Evans47.com. Instagram Evans47. On Facebook, you can find me that way. So
stay tuned, because here pretty soon we're actually going to have the Miti Group as a whole on set with us to interview them as a group. And that's going to be super exciting. That's a couple different artists, three different artists?
2 of them will be Dave Massey, like I said, possibly Mark Tice. Our other friend lives in London now, so maybe we could phone him in or something,
Yeah, we can FaceTime him.
Yeah.
So Evans, in your career in photography, who was your biggest inspiration? Who inspired you to become who you are today?
Well, I always have a lot with that. It's, I mean, family, friends, my wife, people that I kind of meet. But one of my biggest influence, or person that influenced me the most, was my high school art teacher, Kirby Smith. It was freshman year in high school. I took my very first painting class. I was all excited to do it. And our first project was we had to paint a little like 3x5 piece of block wood and paint a landscape. And that's all we had to do. And me growing up, I watched a lot of Bob Ross. So I did my quick little Bob Ross, little landscape with, happy little trees and all that stuff.
Totally.
I remember I showed him, I'm like, Mr. Smith, what do you think of this? Did this come out, is this any good? And he's like, yeah, that's pretty good. I'll give you an A, but why is the sky blue? And I'm like, huh, okay. And I kind of go back to my desk and I kind of look at it. I'm like, okay, maybe he wants like stormy clouds. So I kind of changed like the blue sky to like gray clouds with storms, whatever. And I go back to him. I'm like, well, okay, how's this one? Is this any better? And he's like, yeah, but why is the sky blue? And for the longest time, I couldn't figure out like what he was trying to tell me. And then eventually, I came to realize that with art, it could be anything I want it to be. The sky doesn't have to be blue. Art can be, it could be purple, it could be green, it could be whatever you want it to be. And to me, that was, especially at that age, it was almost a watershed moment of getting my mind expanded, basically. We're knowing that with art, and this is with any type of art, whether it's painting or film or photography or acting, whatever, there's no rules, there's no limits. You can do whatever you want to do. If you could dream it, you can create this idea. And that's kind of what I loved about it. And for me, that was a very profound moment. And I feel like even as, not just as an artist, but as a human being, my life just kind of made a huge turn for the better, where I think that made me into a better person.
All right, Evans. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Totally.
It was great to be here.
Everybody, look out for the interview coming soon with the Miti Group, as well as a couple very, very interesting interviews coming within the next 2 weeks. I hope that you guys stay tuned. I hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you for coming again, Evans.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And as always, hang loose.